we continue our discussion on the upgrade of the Hazelmere Dam in KwaZulu-Natal, and we're now joined by Desmond DSa. He's the coordinator of South Durban Community Environmental Alliance, and he joins us now via our video link. Desmond, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. I mean, we saw the minister there speaking to us a bit earlier on, of course, this upgrading of, this dam wall and what it actually means for the communities in KwaZulu-Natal, particularly these three municipalities that will be benefiting. Perhaps as the community of Durban, do you welcome the commissioning of this dam wall?
Well, water is a scarce commodity, and KZN fair of not having any water for months on end. We've had places on the north of Durban, like Tongaat and Verulam and Stanger. They have absolutely no water for months on end. So anything to improve the water resources is welcome. But let me say, the problem also lies with, have they got a maintenance program that's going to continue to maintain the dams, maintain all the pipes, the infrastructure, because that's been the biggest problem. Infrastructure has been allowed to rot and not been maintained for months on end. We've had more losses with water through poor infrastructure than anything else. And people should have had water if the infrastructure budget was kept for the maintenance of the pipes and all the infrastructure that is required to pump water and supply water to people.
And maybe, Desmond, if you can just paint a picture for us. I mean, we've seen a number of protests taking place in KwaZulu-Natal over the issues around water. How bad was the situation in KwaZulu-Natal when it came to proper water supply to communities?
Well, the water supply has been very bad in poor areas. The people who have water are people who have swimming pools and all that, or they have JoJo. The people that don't have it, living in indecent and informal settlements, do not have access to water. And that's been the problem. But also the water that we were getting is not drinkable. We have tested the water. We've actually taught communities about science, taking their own science and testing the water and then providing the evidence. So through WaterCan and ourselves, for the last 3 years, we've been taking water samples. So even when the water is water, it's not readily drinkable because it's contaminated with a whole lot of things, including the high levels of E. coli that's on our beaches and all the drinking waters in Durban. It seems to be much better now, and so we are welcoming anything that's going to improve life. But I hope that the water goes to the neediest of our people who really have had the hardship in not receiving water. That's been the problem.
And also, what does it mean for those communities in particular? I mean, the poorest of the poor. You were saying a bit earlier on, some had JoJo tanks and some have swimming pools. But when it comes, to those in the townships and in informal settlements, they couldn't really afford to have, those kind of amendments to their homes. What does this mean now to communities like that?
Well, the infrastructure is still a problem. If the government rolls out the infrastructure, that will help a lot. But as we heard with the head of our city yesterday, saying that they still have problems, it's going to take some time to sort it out, but more critically, they need money. So irrespective of that, water commodity is going to be scarce, the prices are going to go up, like we've seen throughout. The cost of living has gone up. So poor people who are unemployed, or who even get a grant, or the 350 that is granted by our government, is not enough. It's not enough to even pay for the water, nor for anything else. Neither is it enough to even buy food. So this is a costly exercise, and government has to come to the party. The kilowatts of water is not sufficient. They need to provide, as indigent, as poor. They should provide much more water to poor people. And that's what's required at this present moment in time. Provide the infrastructure, let us see that, and increase the water to ordinary people who have suffered from a lack of water.
And when you look at the interventions being made here by the Water and Sanitation Department, do you think that perhaps, the interventions, took too long and many in the process suffered because of, no proper supply of water?
Certainly from outside, we've seen that happen, and it's affected the poorest of the poor in KZN as a whole. but more importantly, a lot of people have died from lack of water because they couldn't cook food. They had to carry water from miles away to bring it to them. They couldn't wash clothing. They couldn't have baths like ordinary people have baths. Some people have 2 or 3 baths a day, but the poorest of the poor, they're lucky to have a bath once a week during that period of having no water.
All right, Desmond, thank you so much for your time.